Truth and reconciliation, to me, those two words are, packed with a lot of meaning. And a lot of times I don't think people really understand the meaning of those two words, and because they're being thrown around an awful lot. And I don't know if people always take the time to really understand what the two words mean. One thing in particular that I could say as an example is the land acknowledgement. A lot of times you'll see in a gathering or at a conference, you'll see people come up and address and do a land acknowledgement. But I often question myself as to what they really know about the reasons why they're doing that land acknowledgement. Do they understand, that this land is the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq and the Beothuk, and also, the ancestral grounds of the Innu and the Inuit, and we're saying it, but do you really understand? I think in order to understand, you have to really go back and do your homework, and you have to go through history and learn the truth of what happened to Indigenous people here in this province and in this country, all across Turtle Island. Residential schools were a tragic thing that happened in the past, and people don't. There's people who don't even know what a residential school is. So I think truth and reconciliation to me means finding out the truth first. Finding out, going through that history and understanding and learning about the stories and of the horrific stories that happened in residential schools during the 60s scoop and all of the things that happened, assimilation. The children in those graves, they were found for a reason. They wanted to be found. I think it's time for that truth to come out, and that awareness has been raised, so now it's even a greater responsibility. I also, in 20 years, want to see that community groups are working together, in unison, and that everybody is, working for the same thing, where everybody's on the same page. That, there's oftentimes a lot of division and a lot of lateral violence comes along with that. A lot of the things that are happening now in communities, the politics sometimes will get in the way of good community work. And sometimes we fall victim to that, and it's a colonial perspective. So I really hope that all of those things are gone and vanish in the next 20 years, and that everybody is working together for the same purpose and for the same meaning in a really good way. The youth have always been the core of the communities, basically, and with their knowledge as they grow up, and they, if they learn the culture and they learn the ways as children, and they're learning and they're seeing what the adults are doing, and they're rising and they're doing those things, they're the ones that are going to bring the culture into the future, and they're the ones that are going to bring all of these traditions forward in a good way. Play your part. Immerse yourself in community, learn, become aware, educate yourself, and become an ally. If you're not Indigenous, become an ally, and just support and make sure that truth comes out, make sure that the horrific things that happened in the past are not repeated, and that we do move forward in a good way together. My name is Candace Simon, and I'm from Port-au-Port on the west coast of Newfoundland.